Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'd like to take a look at the many different Zapdos of GLC. So, what is GLC for those of you who don't know? It's a single price only, no Robux format allowed. So yeah, sadly no Zapdos EX, bit of a shame. Yeah, it is singleton as well, except for basic energy, and you're only allowed one type per deck. So if you're not interested in playing lightning types, then this video is probably going to be pretty boring for you, sadly. So yeah, the mini Zapdos of GLC. The first one is honestly not that bad, surprisingly. Like usually the first card in these videos is pretty terrible because it's the oldest, but for some reason this Zapdos ain't that bad. Now Random Spark is only doing 50 snipe, but some snipe is better than no snipe. Yes, granted, there's much better Zapdos that can snipe later on in this video, but still, you could do a lot worse than 50 snipe for 3. Then Thundering Hurricane can do 200 damage, which is pretty cool. But it is coin flips. It's a bit risky. But I could definitely see the argument in a coin flip based lightning deck with enough ways to, ramp energy. I could see the argument for a Thundering Hurricane Zapdos to be included. It's kind of fun, I'll give it points for that at the very least. The next one has an amazing art rare. I think it had a different name of rarity back then, but yeah, the art rare is from Generations, by the way, not Roaring Skies like the one on the left, but it is the same card pretty much. So yeah, Raging Thunder does 120 and then 40 to one of your bench Pokemon. It's pretty bad, to be honest. It's just like, okay, wow. Like, to be fair, I think there's a Stunfisk, which does more damage for each of your bench Pokemon that are damaged, and that's a Lightning type. So you could have some synergy there with Stunfisk, I guess. But yeah, for the most part, you really don't want to be doing that much damage to your own Pokemon. So, and 120 isn't even a lot. So, aside from the art rare being amazing, yeah, it's just a bit of a shame, but not a very good card. Next up is we have a one from Evolutions. Now, it is a bit of bias, but I do love this set quite a lot. I love like the old school artwork. So yeah, of course I'm going to be a bit biased with this review and say it's really cool. It's not the greatest, of course, like Thunder only doing 90 for 4 and then 30 to itself is pretty bad. And then Thunderbolt does 170 for 4 and you have to discard all energy, which actually isn't that bad. It just kind of depends on what kind of stage 2s and big chunky Pokemon your opponent is running. Do they have 170 HP or less, basically? And, if they have more than that, then you might struggle a bit. But aside from that, it's still pretty cool. You could also run the Electrode from the same set, although it does KO itself and only provides 2 energy. So you might just want to use Magnezone, for example. And, Magneton also accelerates 3 lightning energy from the disco pile, but that's also just KOing itself. So yeah, much better options in this Electrode, but I did think it was worth mentioning because it's from the same set. So, gets points of being a cool artwork and all the rest of it, but yeah, sadly not very good. Then we've got a promo, which can do Polarises on a coin flip, and that's about the most redeeming factor this card has. Then we have a one from Team Up, which is really good. Thunderous Assault does 10 damage, and if it moved from the bench to the active, it does 70 more, but it's not affected by weakness. And yeah, this is actually a rare case of a card in GLC being very, very good, actually, and very competitive in Standard at one point. So yeah, this card used to be pretty good. So the chances are, if you know someone that played during the Sun and Moon era, they probably have a Zapdos, potentially. So that's kind of cool. Makes it a bit easier to track down. But yeah, Thunderous Assault is honestly just really good. 80 damage. You can modify it as well with things like the Electro Power to increase your attack damage by plus 30. Granted, it's a singleton format, so it's going to be a bit awkward to track down. But still, it's a very efficient attacker. And, if you just want an easy, just a good, hyper efficient, what's the word I'm looking for? Simple to use, quick, I guess. 1 light energy, very easy to use. Said it again, very efficient. We'll say it again. 80 damage, I'm going around in circles here, but you see what I mean. Like, it is very, very good for what it is. So I do quite like this Zapdos a fair bit. Then we have a one from, I believe that's Hidden Fates, but it's more like Hidden Bulk because this card is terrible. The first attack, Hurricane Call, would be cool, but sadly it's only 2 GX or the classical EX, which are both Roblox Pokemon, so you can't use it. And then Sky High Claws. Is that a movie name? Yeah, Sky High Claws, okay. 2 Lightning and a Colorless does 100, and I don't know why I bothered reading that, but it's a bit of a shame, but okay. Moving on. Then we have a one from Vivid Voltage with the attack Thunder Snipe, which discard all energy and you can do 160 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon V or GX. Initially, I thought this was to any Pokemon. Okay, this is terrible. Yeah, so the only thing this is good for is Drill Peck. So, yeah, this is quite a bad card, actually. Never mind. Then we get to one that's actually playable. Sword and Shield Pokemon Go has the ability Lightning Symbol. So your basic Lightning Pokemon's attacks, except any Zapdos, do plus 10 damage. Just quite nice. You know, you're never going to use this thing to attack, but, you know, it is a nice modifier. You obviously, like, paired it with things like the Pachirisu to do 10 damage and then 20 more for each of your benched Lightning Pokemon, which is quite cool. So just some very simple, cheap synergy, you know, very easy to pick up. I would say that you can't really, yeah, you can't use it with the Raichu that has Circle Circuit because that's a stage 1, which is a shame because it's only buffing basic Lightning Pokemon. But, you know, if there's other cheap, efficient, basic Lightning type attackers, then the Zapdos is pretty good. You just can't really attack with it. The next one is going to be a Scarlet and Violet promo with the attack Follow-Up Bolt. Does 20 and then 10 more for each damage counter in your opponent's active Pokemon. I said this in like the Raticate video. These attacks are okay. It just depends on what you want from your deck. So like if you're going to two-shot things, then sure, why not? But typically you want to aim for one-shots. So Follow-Up Bolt is not really that desirable. Like sometimes it's okay, but I think for the most part you just want to play a Zapdos or a different Pokemon altogether, really, that, you know, has a big, powerful 1-hit KO move. You know, preferably like the Zapdos that we looked at earlier that does like 190, for example. So yeah. Follow-Up Bolt, actually no, it doesn't do 190. I think that's the next one. So yeah, Follow-Up Bolt, not very good, but yeah, it's one of those situations. Twilight Masquerade Zapdos, though, I do think is pretty good. Thunder Wave is Paralysis on a coin flip, and then Thunderbolt does 190. And you do have to discard all energy from Zapdos, but I mean, you're doing 190, that's pretty good. So yeah, there's honestly not a lot of great choices for Zapdos in GLC. It's weird. I think the one from Team Up is probably the best. But this one, I think, comes in at a close second if you're running either Magnezone or Magneton to accelerate energy. So, you know, it's handy for running Magneton and Magnezone in the same deck, of course. But yeah, a fairly strong card. Thunderbolt doing 190. You know, it's decent damage. So yeah, probably one of the best Zapdos. It's one that I have as well, by the way, in the binder. So yeah, I can give it some points for that. But yeah, thank you for watching. I do a new set review for GLC with each new release, so do subscribe if you're interested in being updated. This is now a series to stay, so let me know which Pokemon you'd like to see in the series, although I should probably cover Moltres because I've done Articuno before. But yeah, there is a list, but getting through them, and a playlist has been made. And if you want to dive into the competitive side, it is worth mentioning that Omnipoke and the format creator Tricky Jim have both done fantastic videos and guides for each type. But yeah, let me know what you think about Zapdos down below. Do you want to see Moltres in the series? And yeah, thank you for watching.